The Infynito 90 moved Ferretti yachts in a totally new direction. Fresh exterior design, a fast displacement hull, and what they call the all-season terrace up front. And in this video, I'm going to show you all of that, plus we've got an opportunity to drive it. So let's head out to sea and see what happens when you combine 90 feet of Ferretti and 3,600 horsepower. I'm Jack Haines, welcome to YachtBuyer. Right, we're filming this during the Venice Boat Show. It's a group sea trial, so we've not got a huge amount of time, so I'll try and give you a taste of what this thing is like to drive in the limited time we've got. The headlines are we've got twin 1800 horsepower MAN V12s. It's got a fast displacement hull. Top speed we've had today is 22, 23 knots. And if you do 12 knots, you should get around 1,200 nautical miles of range. We're doing 17 knots now, and the overriding feeling is how quiet it is. We're a long way up, we're a long way forward. Those twin engines are a long way away, and it is incredibly quiet in here. I took my sound readings with the door open, and it was still sort of below 60 decibels, almost right up to full speed. So it is incredibly quiet. And really, that is what this boat is about. It's not about handling. It's not really about top speed. It is about quiet cruising. You know, this is a large boat, generally going to be handled by crew. So it's about piece of progress for passengers, and it certainly delivers that. But it's got a lot of the familiar Ferretti Group touch points. So we've got the auto steer, I say auto steer, it's sort of auto returns back to centre steering. We've seen that before. It's fly-by-wire. It's incredibly light for a boat of this size. And actually, when you do turn it for a fast displacement hull of this length, it turns really quite tidily. But there's very little drama, and that's mainly because of how quiet it is. And this position really sort of shrinks the boat. You're looking down, you know, the top of the all-season terrace now, and it's like a little bonnet. You can, you know, see the very end of the boat, but you're a long way forward, so you've got no real sense of the size of the thing from here. Everything is displayed through these enormous MFDs, triple ones, so you can split the screens between dials and navigation. The rest of the layout it's all pretty simple, really. You've got your controls laid out in front of you. We've got twin seakeepers on this boat. Only one is running at the moment because the other one needs to be commissioned. Humphrey trim tabs as well, which are just, you know, helping keep it on the straight and narrow, but it really doesn't feel like it needs them. The fast displacement hull means it runs very smoothly through the water. Twin helm seats that you can sit or lean at, as you can see, and side doors on either side so the crew can get out and get to the wing stations, which is especially useful when you're coming into moor. Right, I think that's about my time up. There's people breathing down my neck behind me, so we'll move on to what the boat is like on board. Before we start the tour, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate your support. Hit subscribe, hit the bell icon, and you're good to go. Right, let's get on with it. Starting down here at the transom, it's got a hydraulic bathing platform, which obviously sinks down into the water, but there's also a tender garage, so the tender lives tucked away in there, leaving the deck nice and clear. When you want to launch it, you open the door, drop the platform down, and there's a trolley system that runs the tender down into the water. Now, as you can see, with the passerelle down, access at the port side is blocked, but we have equal access both sides, so it's very easy to nip up the starboard side and into the cockpit. The cockpit is where you really begin to appreciate the decision to not have a Helm Station on this main deck. It means they can push everything forward, meaning that even here on a 90-footer, this cockpit feels very large, and it's really focused on lounging around as well. There's a dining space outside upstairs, we'll see that later on, but this is about comfortable, relaxing near the water. You have the Infinity Terrace with the glass transom, so you can really keep an eye on what's going on down there, but it's a lovely place to relax, whether you want to be in the sun or in the shade. It's a big, big space. But moving forward is where we get to what is probably the key feature on board this boat. There's lovely wide side decks on this yacht, and as we're seeing more and more often, you've got this sort of broken feeling. So there's an open side here, looks very striking from the outside, but also means you can always see the water as you're moving up and down these spaces. And then we come to what is probably the key feature on board this yacht, which is what Ferretti calls the all-season terrace. All-season because it has a roof above, but at the push of a button, the vanes all tilt, so you can open this area up to elements a bit more. Of course, if the weather's not great, you can close it down, and you can also cover this entire area. There's runners here with covers, so it can be fully insulated from the elements. And there are a few different options in terms of what you can do with this space. You can have a fixed sunbathing space, you can have a hot tub if you want, or you can have this bar, which I think works really well, you have, whatever you do, this sunbathing space over here, which covers up the anchor lockers. You have to remove these cushions to lift those up and get to the windlasses. But then you can sit on this sofa, you can recline there, and you've got a really good view of the TV. But you've also got a couple of bar stools either side. I really like the way that you move between the two bar tops, which look as if they're floating here in this area. And talking of the bar, you know, you've got a full service here to be able to give guests drinks, bit of food, because there's fridge, there's ice maker, sink. It's got it all. And the nice thing about using this area is if you're moored like we are now, stern to, a lot of people will be on the flybridge or in their cockpits. Up here, it's more private. You're away from the quayside. You're probably not looking over at other people using their boats. It's a really interesting use of space. And it makes a big difference to the use of space indoors as well. So let's head in there. It's quite novel for us to be able to start a saloon tour from the front of the main deck, but that is what this clever layout allows you to do. You can have this area as a main deck owner's cabin if you prefer, but if you do that, you don't get this. Look at that wonderful view out over the bow of the boat. You get an 8-person dining table here, and the way this connects, totally flat floor, all the way back to the lounging space with the galley in between is really clever. Some of the details up here. Television pops up from here. Little bit odd maybe that the television isn't down there in the lounging space, but you've got another massive TV in the upper saloon, which we'll see in a moment. So that pops up as so. Over on this side, so the main galley is there, but there's this small pantry area too. This goes back quite a long way actually, and that's got things like a wine fridge, coffee maker, and the microwave all tucked away in there. The other thing I like about this area is all the things the crew are going to need to make the table is very close by. So in here we've got dedicated storage for all of the cutlery, plus some of the crockery, and then over on this side, in this floor-to-ceiling cabinet, you've got all of the glassware and all of the cups as well. Very easy for the crew to put stuff away and get it out when people want to dine. Talking of dining, into the galley. It's completely open. You know, this isn't closed off as a crew space. This is an area to be enjoyed by everybody on board, and it's a big space as well. Lots of storage underneath this counter. Within this counter is where you find the induction cooktop. That's a nice detail. A big oven down here, and as you can see, domestic fridge freezer behind me. And there's a big amount of storage right by this side door, which again gives crew another access point in and out of this area. It's a really cool space, and I do like the way it's all very sociable. Wherever you're sitting, you can all communicate with each other very easily. These are the steps up to the wheelhouse, which we'll go to in a moment. Downstairs, all the guest cabins. And then here, on the starboard side, is the dayhead. Nice useful addition with a lovely big window as well. So you've got a decent view out from in there. And the beauty of having the dining table forward, if you had the master cabin on deck, this area would be split between dining and seating. This is all seating. So this is a really spacious, relaxed area, lots of different styles of seating in here, but very, very comfortable, a nice place to come and relax, and there's a bit more storage over on this side as well. I think the way this deck all links together is really, really special. Let's head downstairs now and have a look at the accommodation. Now, of course, if you have the main deck master cabin, that somewhat changes how the arrangement down here works. But on this 4-cabin version, you have the owner's cabin behind me amidships, but we're going to start up front with the VIP cabin. This is an interesting cabin. Much like up on deck, they're doing things slightly differently. You can see immediately the arrangement is maybe quite different to what you'd expect. You'd expect the bed to be up here and the head to be down there somewhere. Here, the bed runs across the cabin and the head is right forward, and it's a really good size as well. Big separate shower cubicle, same headroom in there as I've got in here. I'm 6 foot tall, and there's plenty of clearance and really good storage too, especially behind the toilet. 2 big deep bins to put all your toiletries in. And then the benefit of this is, you know, the width of the bed, you actually get to enjoy the hull windows as well. You're looking out of them in bed rather than being alongside you. And there's still space for plenty of storage in here too, between the hanging wardrobe and some more bins behind that sofa. And this is quite a neat touch as well. TV hidden away up in this bulkhead. Obviously eventually it will swing all the way around so that it's in front of that hull window and obviously facing the bed. But yeah, there's some clever thinking going on in here. One sacrifice you have because of the positioning of the bed is that there is a couple of level changes within this cabin, but this area here, once you first come in, is completely flat. Now moving on to the other guest cabins, on the starboard side you have a bunk cabin. And this is really best suited to kids. You know, the berths are a decent size, but this is a really cosy kids cabin. And actually, they have got a very spacious private ensuite as well. So every cabin has got its own bathroom. Privacy very good in that regard. The other guest cabin is on the opposite side, and that is a twin. And that's a good size too. If you want to sleep adults in here, they'll be absolutely fine. Walk between the bed very easily. Nice patch of hull window here to bring in some natural light. Television mounted up on the wall here, and you can see the storage is pretty good in this hanging wardrobe. And again, we've got a private bathroom. Right amidships is where we find the owner's cabin. So yes, in this format, owner's suite is here amidships. Remember, if you had the 5-cabin version with the owner's suite on deck, this becomes your VIP, which is a really pretty special place to be able to offer your guests to sleep. What about the space itself? Well, the boat is 25 foot wide, and this cabin uses the full beam, so it feels very, very large. The bed is huge. I really like the detailing as well. The split between the timber and the marble up on the bed head and this light that runs down the middle, lighting throughout, is really, really nice on the Infynito 90. The television is mounted within this mirror, so you'd have no idea it's even there when it's off. And there's space either side for things like the bureau here, the little sofa tucked over on that side, and some more storage. And talking of storage, it's excellent in this cabin. There's a full walk-in wardrobe, and it's a big one too, and that shares the space behind the bed with what is a very generous, of course private, ensuite bathroom. And these areas also act as a little bit of a buffer between the sleeping spaces here and the machinery spaces aft. That's the sleeping spaces then. Let's head right to the top now and check out the bridge. Something I have noticed moving around the boat is how solid everything feels, and it should do on a boat of this size and price, but it doesn't always. The flooring is really solid and squeak free. Everything you grab onto is really robust as well. It does feel like a well-engineered product through and through. And the detailing is lovely as well. I really like this light motif they've used. They're downstairs as well, but they really stand out here on the upper deck. And I talked about having another TV. Well, there it is. It's an absolute monster. So if you want to come and watch TV and relax, this is where you do it. Opposite this really lovely, low-slung, comfortable sofa, and great views up here as well. Nice how they've got glass within the superstructure, so your view isn't obscured up here. And of course, this deck also connects really nicely to the outer deck too. And this is where the main external dining area is on board this yacht. You've got this lovely sociable round table here under the protection of the hardtop. There's another servery for the crew to use on this side, which has got twin grills. There's a sink over that side and a fridge underneath. But it's not just a dining space, because it's another place where you can lap up the sun as well. You've got these sun lounges right aft here, really well positioned, clear of the hardtop, but you've got poles as well, so you can slot them in and create some shade over here if you want to. This is a great deck because it melds so well. You get that inside-outside feeling. You're elevated. It's a really lovely space to spend time. Right, let's head downstairs to the machinery space now. Access to the crew space on the Infynito is through this door on the port side deck down a rather steep ladder. Right then, into the crew space. That door there is through into the engine room. We're going to pop through there in a moment. And there's space for 3 crew on board this boat. And if they were all moving around down here at the same time, it would feel a little bit cramped. In terms of sleeping space though, behind me here there's a bunk cabin, 2 people, and then outside you have a separate shower cubicle and toilet, a small galley here with the sort of appliances you'd expect. Up here behind these fascias is the washer, dryer, and then a small mess area or dinette down here, above which there's a TV and this MFD, so they can control systems from here and keep an eye on everything from down here in the crew space. Then right forward there's a private captain's cabin which has its own separate bathroom. Right, onto the engine room. There's a good chunky watertight door between the crew space and this engine room, but if you need to get in here quickly you can do that through a deck hatch that leads up to the cockpit, and there's a ladder that runs down between the engines. 6 feet of headroom in here. There are humps over the V-drives, so you have to clamber over those, but then again in the middle the headroom improves. There's a bit of an intrusion from the tender garage, but it's not too bad, and they've tucked the seakeepers down underneath that between the 2 engines. And in terms of space around the engines, it's really, really good. There's hatches here so you can get to the V-drives if you need to, and in terms of inspecting the lumps, very simple, easy access to the 2 generators as well, one right by the door, one over there. Yeah, it's an impressive machinery space. The Infynito 90 was a bold move by Ferretti Yachts. It's so different to what they've done before. And has that braveness paid off? Well, yes, I think it has. You know, we only got a little sliver of what it's like to drive, but it certainly has that comfortable, relaxed cruising vibe that you'd want from a yacht of this size. And this area is so novel, and it's not just for show. I think it genuinely improves the living spaces on board. Yes, you lose some space above, like you might get on its rivals, but this space becomes so much more usable because of the coverage and because of the different things you can do with it. I think it's a really cool concept. But hey, let me know what you think. Get in the comments and tell me what you think about this new model. And there's an 80-footer coming along as well, so we'll get hold of that as soon as we can. Thank you for watching that sea trial and review. If you enjoyed it, please give the video a like. And if you like this style of boat, we compared the Princess Y95 to the Princess X95. I'll put that video up here, put some sea trials and some nice big stuff down here for you. And if you would like to subscribe, you can do that by clicking up here. Thanks again for watching. I'm Jack Haines. This is YachtBuyer.